Ever since that prime minister had that really fun relationship with that pig, I've been having a really fun time watching Black Mirror. Black Mirror has been a deep look into the consciousness of people, how far technology can go, and I've been having a great time watching it. New season just dropped, and last season was complete dog water. They did this strange thing where they made everything spiritual and all this nonsense, where instead of technology, it was demons and werewolves, and that was horrifyingly bad. They shouldn't have tried that. Thank you for experimenting. I didn't like it. Please don't ever do it again. But we're back in true fashion with the new season of Black Mirror, and it's been pretty good. Overall, if you want to know my rating for the season, I'm going to give it a 6.5 out of 10. Mostly because they mainly relied on callbacks and things of that variety. But I'm going to go through each and every episode and give my unfiltered thoughts about it. Let's start with episode 1, Common People. Oh, this is beautiful. This is exactly what's going to happen in the future. An increase of Netflix subscription prices. Sorry, let me rephrase that. An increase of subscription prices giving worse things that are happening. So the episode starts off, and the wife, she's having a brain issue in her head. Tumor. Oh my goodness, I fell over. I have a tumor. Boom, you're done. Get out of here. And then some nice black lady approaches her husband and says, hey, what if I fix that woman? Oh, I can't pay for it. Don't worry, surgery's free. Boom. Should have read the fine detail. Surgery's free, but it's just $300 a month. Don't worry about it. For how long? Forever. It's cloud-based servicing. As a matter of fact, most companies let you get things for free initially. Go to Game Pass, $1 for the first month. Easy. And then after that, it's $16 a month to get an infinite catalog of games. Do I own them? No. But they're cloud-based. They're in the cloud. You get to have them as long as you pay the subscription price. Same with Netflix. Same with every subscription model. This is the fatal flaw of subscription models being shown to us within a subscription-based service. It's as if Netflix knows it's playing this game with me. Netflix knows it's taking my money infinitely, and they're just looking at me saying, what are you going to do about it? You gonna end your own life? Huh? You gonna do that? Yeah? Because that's what happens at the end of the episode. So let's go through the main story beats of the first episode of Common People. Starts off, husband's a hard worker, works in a factory. Little subtle illusions shown. One of the co-workers is watching a thing called Dumb Dummies, which is basically Kick. Kick is being shown in the entire show, and that's pretty cool. Guys ripping out their tube, sticking chickens up their butt, taking their nipples off and cutting them off and grilling them on the fryer and then putting them inside of a sandwich and biting them, all for the low cost of whatever the person pays to see that. $1,000, $2,000, $500, take your mask off, man, $500, but take your mask off, $500. And he ends up doing this later in order to pay for the exorbitant cost because they're just common people. They don't have enough money to pay for Rivermind, the original. The original Rivermind, it's not that much. Only $300. Then she pops off and says, you probably wonder, you're getting ads now. And this is always my fear with Neuralinks and things of that variety. The wife starts saying ads. Very topical ads, doesn't feel invasive. Let's say your friend is suffering right now. You're suffering. That's because you don't have Beeline Plus. Beeline Plus is a new way to get your medication done. You better go to BetterHelp right now. Use my code at BetterHelp.com to just injecting ads naturally and seamlessly. This is what YouTubers do currently in order to pay the bills. This is what happens there. But if we get a Neuralink inside of our brain or send a little chip on the side of our skull, we're not going to be able to ignore that. We're going to be dropping ads religiously. Imagine you go to bed, have a dream, and then out of nowhere, you wake up and you're like, man, I really want Honey Nut Cheerios. This is weird. I feel like my entire dream last night was about Honey Nut Cheerios. I haven't eaten cereal in 6 years, but I guess I messed one with Honey Nut Cheerios. Seamlessly, slightly injecting ads. That's got to mess with your frontal lobe in some capacity, or at least mess with your nervous system. That's insane. So that's what's happening. She's getting pushed to the brim with that entire thing. Horrifyingly evil. And this just shows the greed of capitalism, and I love that because it's realistic. It's not as if that's out of the norm for what could happen if you get something like Rivermind Plus where your part of your mind gets uploaded to the cloud. That's just regular. That's just real. And then Rivermind Plus comes in. Don't worry. It's only $500 a month. Okay, $200 more on top of your existing payment. On top of your existing payment. Now, this is a greedy, disgusting, evil, nasty business practice that Netflix does. This is what Netflix does. This is what Xbox does. This is what any subscription-based modeling does. Hulu without ads. This is Peacock. This is Zeus Network. Every single one of them. Besides Tubi, I believe. Tubi is just free. You can go on Tubi and enjoy horrible movies by everybody. It's amazing. So this is just what happens at the end of capitalism. Is what it is. So husband's doing all this extra stuff to pay for things, and it feels as if this is the next logical step. See, Black Mirror often does things where it seems a little bit outlandish, but it feels like it's going to happen. This feels closer and closer each moment of each day. It feels right there with things like Character AI. It just feels like it's coming next to him. But I'll do all that stuff in the closing thoughts. First episode, Common People, is a return to true form. She's endlessly getting ads, and then the subscription price increases again. It still started at $300. Then it went to $800. Now, what do you think the next price increase will be? You're right, it's $1,800. $1,800. He's thinking, how am I going to pay for this? This is insane. I don't know what to do. This is Rivermind Lux. You can get skills from other people, do the parkour. You're basically becoming a powerful robot. At this point, other people might even want to get Rivermind Lux just for the benefit of using all these things. It started off as a thing to help a common person, just a regular people. But then it later became a luxury item for people that want to experience more pleasure, nonchalantness, have better control of their emotions. This is the next step. When we go too far, we don't know when to stop. There's no brakes. All the way down the hill, lubed up wheels going down at 1,000 miles an hour, speed of light, speed of sound, breaking sound barriers. Boom! And we push past, and we don't even know what the past looks like anymore. We're just here, looking at the results of our own failures, looking at everything around us and destroying our minds, destroying our bodies, realizing that we ourselves are becoming the machine we make. We are becoming gods of our own reality, developing, smallly tweaking everything, having the ability to control our emotions with an app. That is Rivermind Lux, and that's just regular. It's normal. In the beginning even, she's a school teacher. She even talks about how we got rid of the bees. The bees are gone. And that's a reference to another episode. And there's a lot of references and allusions throughout the entire season. And that's really fun. But man, oh my goodness. At the end of it, he just says, all right, guys, I got to take my wife's life. What I got to do is, it's nuts. And at the end, it's alluded to that he himself took his own life. This is just capitalism. That's just capitalism. Costs too much? Well, you could pay it, or it's going to sound crazy. End it all. I do love how the CEO of the company, or more so the main executive of the company, is hearing their pleas, and they're saying the same things that I would say when I was a customer agent service that I could do. 100%. They kept saying, the system won't even let me put it in. I'm going to keep it a bean with you. System won't let me put it in unless you pay the price. The system would let me put it in. I could call my manager or somebody higher than me. I could have done it. But because the cloud-based server is a bit of a mess, it's crazy. One thing that really stuck with me during the episode in totality was the sleeping. The sleeping all hours and hours a day, and how it kept increasing and how the bandwidth kept going, because more people were probably getting Rivermind, and how much worse the basic features were getting. When Netflix first came out, it was a very simple process. You got a CD, and you had that CD for a limited time, and then you would go to one of the little Netflix boxes and return the CDs. Pretty easy. You rent the movie, return it. Pretty easy. You had the ownership of it for a little bit, and that was great. Same with Blockbuster, but instead of going out, you could just order online. And that was the thing that Netflix had over Blockbuster. And that's how, guess what? Netflix killed Blockbuster. Then afterwards, you didn't even need the CD. We had this cloud-based server where we can stream it right to your computer. And I thought that was so futuristic. And it was very futuristic. Oh, it was beautiful. We got to see all the shows instantly anytime we wanted to. I got to see The Mask. Got to see Shrek whenever I wanted to. There was an anime that I wanted to watch. Everything was great. It was fun. But then they started incorporating ads. Then you have to pay for a higher thing. Then you have to pay for this. Then you have to pay for that. And the basic package of Netflix is garbage now. Sucks. They say, oh, it's just $10 with ads. But it's just, and then they say the price. It's just, and then they say the price. And that was a beautiful thing. It felt like it's going to happen soon. And it felt like it's happening now. It felt like we know the greed of corporate America, and it's just being exacerbated over and over again. Next episode, let's get to episode 2. So, episode 2 pops in. This is a masterclass. Oh my God. This is a masterclass in gaslighting. I was so happy when I saw this episode. As a matter of fact, it starts off this black lady. She's a little bit of a chef. She's Gordon Ramsay. She's Chef Boyardee. She's going crazy. I'm making gluten-free. This is a lot of British actors. It's a lot of gluten-free going on. And the boyfriend starts off opening shot. Sees a hat. Barney's. Open the hat. Barney's Burgers, I believe. Barney's Barn, whatever it is. And she's seen it every day. He wears the hat all the time. He worked there for a year. Her memory's good. She's really good at her memory. She trusts herself. Ladies and gentlemen, get ready for a master class in gaslighting. But this gaslighting also incorporates the Mandela effect and parallel realities. Let's get going. So, Verity Green, this white woman pops up. And she says, oh, hi. How's it going? I'm a master of everything. I control the universe. I was an astronaut. I can flip 1,000 times over. I know karate and everything. I want a job here. I just love food so much. All of it was an orchestrated master plan to get close to that black lady in the beginning, because back in the day, she gave a little bit of a handy to one of the teachers, Mr. Kendrick, I believe. Forgot his name. But she gave a handy to the guy, just a woo, woo, woo. Called her the milkmaid. Ooh, milkmaid, yeah. As a matter of fact, she's white and she's a milkmaid. Ooh, people were calling her that. Why? In God's name, who started that rumor? Well, the main character of our show didn't want to seem like a bad person, so she says her friend Natalie started. Natalie says that she started, and it's he said, she said. So by all means, Verity starts messing with her. The girl that was previously bullied came back to get delicious, beautiful revenge. She developed a quantum computer, because she's always been good with, computers and stuff like that, that where she says a reality into a pendant in her neck. And if she says that reality, it becomes the original thing. That's what happens. It becomes the original. So, Mrs. Green pops up and says, well, it's always been called Bernie's. What? No, it's Barney's. It's not Barney's. It's Barney's with an A. Nope, it's Bernie's with an E. Okay, but no, that's not real. That doesn't make that. She looks it up. She Googles it. Boom, got Mandela affected. Wait, hold on a second. That doesn't make any sense. Why does everybody else agree with this? This is a masterclass of Mandela effect. This is a masterclass in gaslighting, and I've never seen something so beautiful in my entire life, with a very good explanation that I really appreciate. So, we're going through, and she's like, oh, boom, give me this almond milk, little nigga. Drinks the whole thing, smashes it. You did it. What? Okay, hold on, I didn't do that. Yeah, you did. Anyways, yeah, you did. Speaking to the receptacomer. Boom, gotcha, stupid. And she's freaking out, panicking. She calls Natalie, and Natalie took her own life. Oh, yeah. Natalie took her own life. I'm so sorry. Why did she take her own life? I don't know. She was saying she was paranoid and people didn't trust her and all this nonsense. And that's exactly what's going on with me. Yeah, who cares about your gluten-free dummy? I'm her husband. I'm going to hang up now. Don't ever call again. What? Don't ever call again. Bye. It was crazy. She breaks into the house, sees the quantum computer, all that stuff, tries to figure everything out. And this is where the episode kind of falls apart. So I enjoyed everything up to it, the gaslighting, the Mandela effect illusions, all the things, the fact that she spoke into a telecompter and changed reality. Everybody else agreed with her. At one point, gaslighting her so bad. I wish I had this ability, by the way. Gaslighting her so bad that she took away her nut allergy. That was beautiful. I wish I could gaslight an allergy out of somebody. You've never been allergic to bananas. I haven't been able to eat bananas my whole life. That's why I don't like Donkey Kong. Nope. You've always been able to eat bananas. Here, eat this. I can eat bananas? Yeah, I'm gaslighting you. If I had that power, I would be a villain. I would be pure evil. I would be disgusting. But here's where the episode falls apart. Into the episode, one of the smartest people on the planet that built a quantum computer doesn't have home security. How does that work? I don't know. But she doesn't have home security. And that messed me up. I said, wait a second. Why didn't she have home security? That was my only thought throughout most of the episode, was the fact that she didn't have home security. I said, why didn't she have home security? That's weird. She should at least have some form of security inside of her house. That was odd. Also, on top of that, I would have guards stationed. She has the ability to control any reality she wants to. She was the empress of the universe. She was an astronaut. She hung out with, I believe it was Harry Styles. It was all these images popping up on the screen. I said to myself, wow, she has so much going on. Why in God's name didn't she, I don't know, have the ability to have echolocation or something? I have no idea. She could control all reality. At one point, she makes the woman who's getting gaslit speak Chinese. Just, you've always spoke Chinese. I'm like, oh my goodness, what's going on? That's amazing. And she somehow had the bright idea to pop up and say, the cops are here. Boom. I would turn her into a chicken nugget. What? You're a chicken nugget now. Boom. I already thought of a better idea. Boom. As a matter, you have no arms and legs. You can't do anything. You try to break in here because you just messed up, but you're evil. You're pre-evil, and everybody thinks you're evil. I would mess her life up so bad. I would destroy her. I love how it's the reality where only she knows what's going on. She specifically chose that. That's messed up. That's beautiful. And she ends up, Mrs. Green, the one that's gaslighting her, she ends up getting shot through the skull because she ends up calling the cops using a transponder device, saying you always had a knife in your hand. I thought she was going to stab her with a knife, but she does the age-old method, the greatest thing of all time. What every human on the planet wants to do. The cop's gun is glowing. Oh, you already know what we got to do. Grab the cop's gun. Boom. This is exactly what would happen if you grabbed the cop's gun. The world would recognize you because that's public information. Because the cop's gun is funded by us, we get to take cops' guns. But we have to have it in our hands first. It's a free gun. We just get to take it. Pow, pow, boom. Immediately clocks her, knocks off all the side of her head. That gun is powerful. Knocks her entire head off. Boom, skull shatter. Pow, croomed her stuff. Bickle gomped her. She gets nipple gomped. How didn't she have immortality? How? How that? Can we talk about that? She should have had immortality or something. She has the ability to change and go through parallel realities. She has the ability to make a quantum computer that can sift through realities by simply making a vocal command of the quantum computer to transmit to that frequency. And she couldn't do that. That's ridiculous. And I know what the people are gonna say. I've seen a few things on Twitter saying this. Oh, they just had to let a black woman win. This isn't even about race. That girl was a bully. That girl was a bully. If any of the people I bullied back in the day came back and did that, I would be impressed. I would say, you know what? You deserve it. You made a quantum computer to get to mess with me? You got it. High five. High five. You got it. Go ahead and end my life. You got it. Your life is mine. My life is yours. I apologize. You got it. I was still trying to bully you. Misspoke my words. My bad. You must have switched to reality where I'm stupid, but I'm always been stupid. So, bada bing, bada boom. You got it. I would immediately just quiver at that. That is amazing. That is skill. And she got hit by a gun? And then at the end of it, she ends up using the device to become Empress of the universe herself. And I'm like, yeah, she likes being in control. She likes being in power. Right back into her bully phase. That girl deserved nothing good. Mrs. Green deserved better. Say that right now. So, that was a great episode. First episode, Common People, I believe that was more of a 7 out of 10. This episode, 9 out of 10. I loved it. I don't know why. Up until the ending, it would have been a 10 out of 10 if the ending was not trash. I'm more than willing to give 10 out of 10 to episodes, but if the ending wasn't garbage, I would have gave it that. Now then, so episode 3, Hotel Reverie, I thought to myself, wow, this episode really shatters the gender norms of, I didn't think that at all. My first thought was I'm going to go on Twitter and see people complaining about DEI. I can see it right now. Oh, they put DEI in Netflix and showing how bad it is. And that wasn't even a big point of contingency. They just simply said, you know that instead of a white man, it's a black woman. This is an allusion to how the fact that whenever a reboot gets made, they somehow change the gender and race of the entire thing. James Bond being a woman, all this other stuff. And I appreciate that. I also like how at first they said, oh, it's not going to be deep faked. They took it a step above deep faking. You're actually in the movie. Sweet. No liquids around the computer. Gotcha. And a coffee spills and she gets trapped inside of the computer. Immediately. Very easy narrative through line. But the beauty of this is the reason why I love White Christmas. You guys don't remember the episode White Christmas. White Christmas was the episode where the guy went in there inside of a little chip and spoke to a guy inside of a snow globe where they were locked inside of a cabin and got the information about the ending of somebody's life, I believe. That was the entirety of it. We got the information. You're locked away for a long time. And at the end of the episode, the guy couldn't see faces. That was the Black Mirror episode. But this one, pure interracial lesbians. Oh, this is great. And it's not even regular interracial lesbians. So the black lady, Brandy, she pops up and she says, y'all do this, it's cool, it's so good. She does horrible acting. I believe that's Issa Rae. Horrible acting. Oh my God, just the worst acting I've ever seen when she's actually doing the movie. She doesn't know what's going on. And that's great acting. See, she's a bad actor by being a great actor. She's a great actor by being a bad actor. That's the beautiful thing, because she doesn't know about anything. She didn't see that flash drive. She doesn't know what's going on. She knows her lines, though, because she loves the movie Hotel Reverie. Hotel Reverie ends up getting a little bit of a malfunction, though. And the main lead actor, the love interest, they get trapped for days, Years even. Who knows how much time? 1 second is 7 hours. Who knows how much time that? I could do the math, but I refuse to. So what happens there? She's stuck in there. So now she's having to learn everything about this woman, her AI girlfriend. And it's so beautiful. The love, the coalescence, the time dilution. And this is where it gets a bit too real. They end up stopping the time dilation where the mess up's happening and they're trying to get to the narrative through line, all this stuff. But this is the part I want to talk about the most in the episode. At what point does a program in a computer, at what point does a program in a computer stop? Let's say you had dementia, right? At one point you had dementia and you lost your ability to remember your loved ones around you. Does that make you less of who you once were before? They're trying their best to show you memories and photos and pictures, but by all means, you can't recall because of dementia. Let's say you bring an AI back to a save state. Does that make the memories you had with that save state after that, does that make that memories null and void? Even better yet, let's say you spent 20 hours farming in a video game and you forgot to save. Does that make that time wasted? Obviously, yes. One must imagine Sisyphus happy though. All that time, you now know what to do. Maybe you can farm faster. Maybe you discover something even better. Who knows what happened? But by all means, they spend all this time together and they say, oh, we got to restart. Don't worry. She won't remember anything. And Brandy says, nothing? She won't remember anything? No, not at all. She won't remember a goddamn thing. Oh. Well. Could I? Nah. We got to continue with it. Then we got to get you out of there. Well, what if I don't want to leave? Stop right there. You want to leave because your real body will die. But my spirit, my consciousness, what about that? No. Your real body will die. Come back here. But what about her? What about her? She's not real. Yeah, but it feels real. And I think feeling real is more important than it actually being real sometimes. That is the greatest aspect of life. That's absurdism in its totality. The great pretending of life. We know that all of our actions are meaningless, even if you are religious or anything of that variety. You know in the deep part of your soul, something, the problem at the bottom of consciousness, you know that at the end of the day, that you're just guessing. You never know what it's really going to be. What happens if you die and nothing's there? What happens then? It's all just a guessing game. So isn't it okay to pretend that everything's fine, go to the weekend bar club every weekend, have a good time with friends? Isn't it fine to just pretend? One must imagine Sisyphus happy to just do the task with no end goal in sight. One must imagine him to be fine, to be okay. But you can't imagine him fine, can you? Because you want there to be something. And even if that AI was fake, the moments you spent with her, those were real. It felt real. Even if you were being lied to, it felt real. You still have those emotions. Those feelings don't go away. And maybe that's the problem at the bottom of consciousness. We love facts, but more so than facts, this isn't even an objective reality most of the time because this is how we interpret reality. This is a vast interpretation of reality. Butterflies see more colors than we do. Maybe that AI girlfriend, that lesbian AI girlfriend, maybe she was good, but there's something wrong with my AI girlfriend's face. She's sadder. She's messed up. She's ruining every piece of herself. Her life's getting destroyed. This is bad. This is bad. At one point, Brandy doesn't even want to leave. She says, no, I don't even want to say the final line. And she's crying because despite it being AI, despite all these things, she spent time with her. That's somebody she loved passing in front of her. And everybody's saying, oh, you did a good job, man. I felt really into you. You're a great actor. Yeah, I guess I am. Can I leave? Yeah, don't worry. We got all we needed. You did? Yeah, it's fine. They edited, spliced it together, did all the stuff, got all the voice lines, all that jazz. It was a mess. It was beautiful. And this is the beautiful thing about falling in love. There's no guarantee you're not going to break a few bones. There's no soft landing when you fall in love. It's messy, it's broken, it's disgusting, it's trife. That's what happens. And there was something wrong with my AS girlfriend's face. And I love that episode a lot because it really touched me in a way that I haven't really felt in quite some time. It was beautiful. It was very beautiful. I know people are gonna say this is a representation of DEI, and partially it was, but more so than anything, I think it was a representation of are our memories and feelings more important than the facts of a situation? That's how I feel. Really, really, really deeply political somehow that episode was, despite the fact that it was just about interracial AI lesbian love, which is insane. I guess even if you're both white, it would still be interracial because AI will be a sentient separate race if it becomes and gains sentience. It'd be a whole separate thing. Anyways, speaking of sentient AI and things of that variety, let's talk about the Throngs. Episode 4. Episode 4 was a deep callback, deep callback to, go back right quick, I want to talk about something. In episode 3, dude was playing Balatro. Shout out Balatro. I just want to talk about this. Shout out Balatro. Balatro is so good. I'm so happy they just had a little Balatro cameo in episode 3. Hard, beautiful, nasty. Love to see it. Episode 4. Episode 4 was a beautiful masterclass in how the Sims operate. So if you don't remember Bandersnatch, I love Black Mirror Bandersnatch. It was the interactive game you could play where you said, "Oh, it's Bandersnatch. It's the Bandersnatch. It's the, I think William Powder is his name. William Powder, that's the guy. I believe that was the person that was supposed to be the guy. I'm pretty sure that's William Powder. I might be wrong. I might be wrong about the actors. But as soon as I saw the callbacks to Bandersnatch, I was very happy about that. I hope every video game episode that goes beyond the veil does this. I just really hope so. So some crazy guy starts off. He walks in immediately, steals a beer, goes right to the cops. Why would you do that? Oh, don't worry about that. Just send me to the police. I need a pen and paper. Can I get a pen and paper? No, you don't get a pen and paper. Just a pen and paper is all I need. No, you're not doing that. And then he explains the details of how he found this small little hyper society called the Throngs. And the Throngs speak in specific, basically Mongolian throat singing. Ha, hee, ha, hoo, ha, hee, ha, hoo, ha. And he can understand them if he takes a hit of acid. After he takes that hit of acid, he's able to understand the Throngs. He can figure out the machinations in the system. He can figure out every piece of it. He can figure out the world. He knows what's going on. He figures out what's in the mind frame. He figures it out. And he says, "Oh man, I have an idea. Hold up a second. They want to make society better. Do they? Yeah. They want to make society good." So he ends up killing one of his friends because they mess with the Throngs. And that's the bigger conflict of what's going on here. He's been hiding under the radar the entire time despite committing murder and all this stuff. He's been hiding under the radar. By all means, he's fine. However, what happens after hiding under the radar? He turned himself in because he needs to get access to the central computer of the world. Whole time he's explaining this story, he's explaining to the black lady who's the psychiatric evaluator, and she's just saying, "I don't see no harm in giving up a pen and a piece of paper." By all means, he says, "No, it's not going to be harm. You're going to become a singularity, huh? Hold on a second. You're a murderer. You're evil. Hold on, watch this. Hold on, watch this. You deserve to die." No. This is going to be really cool. I'm drawing something. This is really cool. You see this? What the hell is that? You probably don't understand, but that computer will. You see this? Yeah, the computer, it gets it. What did you just do? Oh, I just hacked into the mainframe. Yeah, you hacked into the mainframe. No, that was a code the Throngs wrote in order to get to the central device so they could upload their consciousness into the mainframe and give you guys a signal that will connect to every frequency of the human race and destroy you and wipe out all conflict on the planet and understand that we can actually become one. That's what it's going to do. What? That's not real. In about 20 seconds, the emergency broadcast is going to start right now. That's what's going to happen. And you guys are going to be fucked. Huh? Yeah, it's over. You guys are going to get Gippelgomp. You're going to get Schmeckelgormt. You're going to get hee ha hoo ha hee. You don't know what that means, but that's the greatest cuss word on the planet. The Throngs taught me that. You're crazy. And the guy just starts punching the guy. He's like, "I don't care about you anymore." And starts hitting him. He says, "Hey, all this conflict, you can hit me as much as you want to. I don't have any need for violence ever again. I got confidence now. I used to be a scared little boy. Now, the Throngs have taught me confidence. I actually uploaded," he shows the back of his head, "I've uploaded my consciousness, boom, 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 so the Throngs can use me as a little bit of a gateway, a little bit of an at-home surgery, but it worked. The Throngs taught me how to do it." And the fact that he has that in the back of his head and it worked should go to show that he may be crazy, but it works. And then the Throngs use this frequency and knock out everybody in order to get them all lined up with the frequency. Beautiful episode. I liked it. My favorite thing about the episode in totality was the beauty and aspects of how showing that mind-altering drugs can actually expand your mind and actually make you feel like that. I feel like that's going to have irreparable damage towards people actually wanting to try acid upon seeing this episode and actually doing that. This is going to increase the sales of acid by 5,000% probably. That's a bit of an issue. I've never done a single drug in my life. I never smoked weed or drank ever, not once. I know I look like it. I know I look the kind of guy that would do it, but I've just never done that. And seeing this really goes to show that, man, this may actually mess up some people and make them want to do these drugs. It also may reevaluate and it undemonizes drugs. I like it when drugs are not demonized. My wife brought up that point yesterday. We were watching it and saying this actually brings up how drugs aren't being demonized. And I think that's beautiful. That's a great way to view it. I think it's a great point as well. I'm going to give that episode in totality. I don't have much to say about it, to be quite real with you. I'm going to give that a 7 out of 10 episode. Because it was very through line, very regular. Too much callback to Bandersnatch, despite the fact that's my favorite thing of all time. I love Bandersnatch. It's really good. This is going to surprise you guys. But this is episode 5. Eulogy. Episode 5, Eulogy. I'm going to keep it a bean, which I'm going to keep it a stack. I didn't like the episode. I didn't like it. It was very interpersonal. I liked how he went through and explored the past memories he had with this woman. I didn't like it because it felt too personal. It felt like I was looking at my dad go through and try to defend himself and talk about the things he did bad. He did good while everybody else did everything bad. That's felt horrible. It's hard to accept the bad things you've done in your life, but you got to accept them. So the summary of the episode basically is that a service comes in through DHL. A service comes in where you get a eulogy for a person that's deceased, and you go through the memories, and through the program you can actually explore the photos and see the memories within the photos and figure out what's going on. The guy doesn't want to look back on everything. He actually seems very disinterested in the beginning, and he skips past the intro and all this thing. And he doesn't want to go back through memory lane about a girl that he used to be with, a girl he'd been with for 3 years apparently. He was in a band with her. He did all that stuff, but he cheated on her as well. We figured out that he cheated on her, that he yelled at her. He was very dismissive towards her. He didn't want her to play the cello. You can figure out how to play the cello. Nah, we don't need the cello. She can play whatever she wants. She can play keyboard. And it was all messy. It turns out he's blaming everybody else but himself. He thinks he's did nothing wrong. He said, I'm not saying I didn't do anything wrong, but, she did bad things too. He cares more about his own interpersonal feelings than the entirety of everything. And this is the crescendo of a narcissist is what it is. It's the great escaping of one's own responsibilities is how I feel about it. It felt disgusting. It felt like I was watching my own father muddle through and blame my mother for all the things that have happened in the relationship what led up to the divorce. It felt disgusting. She left. She walked out. She didn't believe in it until later he finds that letter and explains that she explains that what I did was in retaliation to you. You made me crazy, so I did something in retaliation to you. It's not completely my fault, but I shouldn't have done that. I shouldn't have retaliated, but still, you shouldn't have done it in the first place. And this is just a loop of people hurting each other, an endless cycle. This is how it operates. This is what retaliation does. When you get hurt and you hurt somebody else back in kind for hurting you, you end up destroying everything. You end up ruining the core aspects of how it operates. You ruin your own set. You ruin your own mind. You ruin your own life. That's what happens. And it sucks. It really does suck. It's not fun to ruin what you are, to ruin everything because you kept retaliating to somebody pushing your buttons. It's bad. And he was blameless the entire time until the very end. He accepted what it was. He listened to her play cello. He cried. And this was his eulogy, his crescendo of a narcissist. I'm not sure if he learned anything. I don't know. But it felt like I was watching my dad. This episode was great for the emotional depth, clarity it was. If I wasn't so personally attached to it and didn't see my dad in it, I'd probably give it about an 8 out of 10, honestly. If I was real with you, 8 out of 10. But because he didn't learn anything, I'm going to give it a 6 out of 10. How I feel about it. Great episode, though. Final episode. Episode 6. All face. This is how it goes. So, correct me if I'm wrong here, but I think this is the first time in Black Mirror where we've had a continuation episode. We've had allusions to other episodes, but this is a direct continuation episode. Correct me if I'm wrong. USS Callister was really good. And I do want to talk about this episode, but not too long. Let me explain why. I don't want to spoil this one. I've explained the other episodes and I've really talked about the tally of it. I really don't want to spoil it. Anyways, I'm lying. I'm going to tell you the entire episode. So, as we know from the previous USS Callister, they put a clone of their bodies, or clone of their minds and consciousness, inside of the game. This was actually a method used to clone people in order to use them for promiscuous activities. That's the original goal of it. It was used by a PORN site in order to clone and get samples of them in that. We discover that the brain of Bob was actively put inside. The consciousness is the heart of Infinity, the game that is the whole thing of the USS Callister. That's the whole thing. Now, here goes the messy part behind this whole thing. Big messy part about this whole thing. They're just trying to get out, or they're trying to not die. They're real people. They feel real things. They just do not wish to lose their life in the game. So they're stealing credits from other players. This causes a no player ID issue because they don't have a player ID. All the other players are complaining because the game has horrible monetization practices. I love how they talk about how much games are costing, subscription prices, and how greedy it is. And a reporter comes in and says, hey, I know you guys got illegal technology. No, we don't. We're not doing that. And the head guy, I forgot his name because he's so forgettable. I don't like him. Walton. His name is Mr. Walton. He's evil. He's messed up. He's fucked up. He's a bad guy. I don't like him. He's the worst character in the entire thing. He ends up trying to kill the actual copies of the people inside the game in order to save face. I like how the main, I believe it's Nanette, I believe Cassette, Nabet, Wabet, I forgot her name. Somebody say her name down in the comment section below. She get hit by a car. She gets smacked by a car. That was beautiful. She gets into a coma. And this creates a gateway for everybody in the game to go inside of her brain because it's discovered the guy at the heart of the universe, the heart of Infinity, is actually Bob. They trapped his conscience in there for maybe 500 years, and by all means, it was really sad to see him in there. But given enough time, he would have went right back to what he was: evil. I'm a nice guy. Incel behavior. It's exactly what happened. I don't want to talk too deeply about this one. I don't. I just want to say, at what point, because this was basically expanded on episode 3, at what point is somebody real, and at what point is somebody fake? I don't know. More so I wanted to talk about this in my final section here. My closing thoughts. Black Mirror has always been a deep look into how technology can affect us through capitalistic gains and how we as people will go too far into the mindset of things. This season overall, give it a 7 out of 10. It was regular Black Mirror. If this is the first season of something, it would be amazing. But because we have its contemporaries to judge it upon, I'm not going to put this in a vacuum. Same way I didn't put the last season in a vacuum because last season sucked. There have been better episodes. There have been standout seasons. There have been standout moments because the more we watch it, the more we're discovering that this isn't some far-off sci-fi adventure. This isn't something that's going to happen way off in the distance. It's deeply inner-rooted in reality, and that's why it's a Black Mirror. There is no guessing if this is going to happen. It's more so when. When will companies be able to copy their brain and upload it to the cloud? When will companies put a device inside the side of our heads that puts ads into us? When will AI, despite us not wanting it to be this thing, when will AI become this sentient thing? It will gain an aspect of sentience. When will it happen? It's not if AI is going to become sentient and we're going to have to actually talk about the repercussions of maybe it's real. It's when it becomes real, when this happens. What will be our reaction? What will be the reality of what will happen to the confines of the world? There's many deep divings of it, such as episode 3 in this season, where she fell in love with something that wasn't real. Episode 1, where capitalism was deeply ingrained in greed. Episode 2, where gaslighting and Mandela effect, where it went too far. We were able to tap into parallel realities, but one person capitalized on it. One person could do it. And she didn't share this information with the world. She did it to be petty. She did it to be disgustingly petty. And she could have changed the world, put herself into a reality, talked to other realities, and been nice to them, and maybe done that, but she did it to gaslight. Because despite us being so powerful, there's always one error that comes in. Same with the Throngs. The error that comes in is human error. Violence, destruction, anger, greed happened in episode 6. Not wanting to recall things correctly, despite the fact that we can find the information if we look deep and hard enough. Eulogy. Not wanting to take accountability. That's what happens. Black Mirror is becoming closer and closer to reality with things like character AI. And I made an hour-long video about how I think AI could one day become real. How you could treat your Sims like real people. I made a whole video thing about that. But Black Mirror this season was amazing. But it's a shame to say that there were other amazing things. If I put this in a vacuum, I give it a 9.5 out of 10 because it gave me existential crisis. But if I compared it to its contemporaries, I give it a 7 out of 10. But even a number grading doesn't make any sense to how it is, because by every stretch of the word, these number ratings are completely arbitrary and worthless. It was an amazing watch. It was beautiful to witness from start to end. The callbacks, the illusions, the dedication to being a fan to it. I loved it. And I hope they never do what they did last season with Red Mirror. That felt like garbage. I hated every second of that. But I appreciate the short look we get into our future every time we get another season of Black Mirror.